What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist here once again with
Gershwin.
and today we're back at it to answer more questions from you guys in another episode of For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put a question in front of your question because we get those questions first. Also, we have super thanks, so if you guys want to support the channel, you can hit us up with a super thanks. If you do, we will answer your question guaranteed in the next episode. If not, you could also support us on Patreon. It's just $1 a month. Link in the description. But that's where this question comes from. It comes from JMR8204. First of all, thank you for answering my first question about the Space Wolves. You're welcome. Second, Blood Angel successor chapters, some of them, have tried a lot of things to control the urge of the Red Thirst. Have any successor chapters or even individual Marines tried to use blood from something other than human to try to control the Red Thirst? And if so, what were the results? Which were most likely grimdark? No successor. Like the Red Thirst is the thirst for blood. Like,
Basically
human blood.
Yeah, they just it's vampiric in nature.
Yeah.
Which is different than the Black Rage. The Black Rage is supposedly the psychic backlash from having their Primarch die, and they go crazy, thinking that they're fighting alongside Sanguinius, and they're just like in a fit of rage.
Right.
Yeah. So the Red Thirst is a little bit different than that, but kind of similar, where they kind of do go. Feral, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get these instincts to just drink blood.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of successor chapters from the Blood Angels have tried to. I mean, they quench their the Red Thirst with blood, human blood.
Yes.
So that is why there are certain chapters that like have gotten a reputation where they go to a planet and then a lot of people turn up dead. When the Space Wolves or when the Blood Angels show up, or a successor chapter, and it's them taking these humans and draining their blood.
Yeah, they've got like literal ceremonies where they'd be like drinking blood out of like golden goblets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Some of them will even force the aspirants before they become Blood Angel Space Marines to drink blood before going through the gene seed implantation.
Yeah. And then there is a chapter, I don't remember which one it is, but they bathe in blood. And they do that like right before a battle. And where do they get the blood? From sacrifices.
Yeah.
Because you got to think about it, like within 40K, sacrificing is not something weird or strange. How many psychers get killed every single day for the Emperor? So for the Blood Angels to kill a couple humans to consume blood, that's normal.
Yeah.
But it is human blood, not Xenos.
Right, because Xenos is heretical.
Yeah. And I think it just doesn't do the trick, right?
Right, yeah.
It's like you can have, I don't know, a Coke from the grocery store or from 7-Eleven, but it's not the same as the Coke from McDonald's. That carbonation to syrup ratio. Perfection.
Yep. Or to get it more in line with our viewers, it's like Twilight. You have to drink human blood, not like deer blood.
Yes.
For all you Twilight fans.
I didn't know that. Next question.
This one is by Karen Cuddlesberg. What if Sanguinius never grew up that fast? It takes a Primarch about 5 to 6 years, but he did it in a few weeks to some months. I always thought the Primarchs always grew up roughly around the same time frame, meaning that like yes, they go from like when they were in their like gestation pods, they were basically like children, and they grow to adulthood and then stay in their prime for like the rest of their life. But that growth spurt is like about a year or so. Maybe Sanguinius was a little bit quicker than others, but still, like they're all roughly about the same.
Yes. Next question comes from World DDDD777. What are your favorite novels from the Black Library?
So I've been recently reading the Siege of Terra and the Horus Heresy, and so far, I mean, I don't think I have a favorite. I think Fear to Tread was one of the ones that had like Sanguinius fighting against like Kabanda. So that was pretty cool, seeing that fight take place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think I have a favorite right now. So far, it's just been a lot of info dump, and it's just been difficult to try to remember people's names over and over again. Because I feel like when you're reading the Horus Heresy, like you get all these remembrancers, all these Space Marines, and then you get jump from another chapter to another chapter, and it's like you're trying to remember who's who. So it is a lot to kind of remember and process forward. But overall, I think it's still an enjoyable experience.
For me, I think it's Eisenhorn, right?
Eisenstein's the ship.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good story.
Yeah, people have always told us to read like Gaunt's Ghosts. Those are also really beloved books from the Black Library.
I heard they're just really long.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of them.
But you do get to follow like a group of people and go through it. Whereas in the Horus Heresy, you're jumping from different perspectives, different chapters and stuff like that. So
yeah. Good question. Next one comes from...
I got one by Neo Acid Creep. Who would win between Conrad or Batman?
Oh, for sure. Conrad.
Yeah, dude could like see into the future and stuff.
Batman is a man with a lot of money.
True, but I mean, the whole thing about Batman is like give him prep time and he'll take out anybody, anywhere, at any time at all. Down here in the deep blue sea.
Yeah. But I think like that he's the equivalent of an inquisitor, or he's the equivalent, not even an inquisitor because he doesn't have authority like that. He would be the equivalent of a rogue trader.
True.
A really, really wealthy rogue trader.
But I mean, look at Batman versus Superman. He essentially took on a freaking like, what, would Superman be equivalent to like a demigod?
Well, but Superman is like nice. Conrad Kurz does not care.
But I mean, look at Superman in like The Injustice or any other storyline where he is like a bad guy.
Yeah.
Batman has always kind of like been able to keep, his wits and be able to go toe to toe against them. But again, Superman does have kryptonite.
Yeah.
What do the Primarchs have?
Nothing.
They don't really have a weakness.
Yeah, no. The Emperor.
Yeah.
Good question, though. And I think it depends on whether you take the Primarch and put him in, like, a DC universe, or if you take Batman and put him in 40K universe.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, if you put Batman in the 40K universe, the Immaterium's going to fuck him up.
Yeah. Or Batman can become corrupted by chaos and become even stronger.
That's true. He can become a demon prince.
Yeah.
So I guess you would have to... It's kind of like that one show on Discovery. We've talked about it before, where it's like warriors clash.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like this percentage of time the Aztec warrior would win against the Celtic whatever. Yeah. So I think it would be a situation where like most of the time Conrad Kurz would win, but every now and then Batman can do some craziness.
Yeah, yeah. And it's like if Batman gets captured, like Kurz is just going to torture him.
That's true. Next question comes from Simon Tees. Nope, I think we already did that, right?
Which one?
What if the Emperor had not been fatally wounded?
No, we didn't do that one yet.
What if the Emperor had not been fatally wounded at the height of the Horus Heresy? What would the Imperium look like?
So the Imperium would look vastly different, because I feel like the Emperor would kind of put his whole Webway project into motion. Probably, I don't even know if he would go after the Chaos Traders. I feel like he might just be able to like pull back, regroup, and kind of continue his plans from there.
I do think that the Emperor would, if he wouldn't have been fatally wounded and he wasn't on the Golden Throne, he would have had to do something with warp powers and becoming a Chaos God. Because I think, during the siege of, was it the siege of Terra? When were the Grey Knights created?
Just after the whole battle. So basically after the Horus Heresy ended.
That's when, like, because the Emperor is the one who's like, hey, what's his name? Malcador, go do this.
Yeah.
Because he knew, okay, so we cannot ignore psychic powers, we cannot ignore the boost of religion, so we need to do something, and I think he would have had to rewrite the imperial truth altogether, and maybe even lose that, and then, I think the Imperium would be way more religious based regardless, because the Emperor would be like, we need to. Which would
go against what he was preaching at first, because at first it was like, there's no such thing as gods, there's no such thing as like religion, we should work on just science and logic, and that's what got them to this place in the like if he would have just said, hey, these things exist, maybe he wouldn't have lost the Primarchs to chaos and stuff like that. But I mean, there's no what if, this is what happens. So.
And this is what's weird about like 40K, and probably it's or something that made me realize right now that the Emperor put psychic powers within every single one of his Primarchs.
Yeah, they all had them. They all had it. Yeah.
So he knew that this was really important to have, and yet the Council of Nicaea, he was like, Space Marines can't do that.
We got to police this.
Yeah. So it's weird. It's a paradox of like, well, it's powerful, but now you're saying don't use it. So maybe it was just like the sentiment. And And then eventually he was like, no, yeah, Grey Knights, we have to use it.
Yeah, fight fire with fire.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Because I think that at that point he saw how powerful and how corrupted and how much his favorite Primarch had fallen.
Right.
Because he made Horus to be the War Master, essentially giving Horus the same authority that the Emperor had.
Yeah.
And then he saw how much chaos corrupted him, and he's like, "Oh, this is too much." Like I don't know if he didn't know how much chaos could hurt the Imperium, but yeah, he finally realized it then and there.
Yep. And those were the questions for today. If you guys have more questions for us, please comment down below. Thank you guys so much for listening and hanging out with us, and we'll talk tomorrow.
Yeah, as always, it's been the Sound Alchemist,
Gershwan.
and we are out.